Welcome to the Northern Star Council Eagle Preview. In this session, we'll be discussing everything you need to know from the journey going from life to Eagle. So we'll look at the process overview. We'll look at the Eagle Service Project. We'll look at the Eagle application process. We'll discuss the Eagle Board of Review and the Eagle Court of Honor. Let's get started. Going from life to Eagle, there's a very distinct set of requirements. The first requirement that you need to do is to become a Life Scout. Once you become a Life Scout, you can do any of these requirements at any time. The stipulation here is that you need to complete a number of these requirements prior to your 18th birthday. That does not mean the day of your 18th birthday. It means it has to be done the day before your 18th birthday. So keep that in mind. So here are the things that you need to have before your 18th birthday. You need to complete requirement number 5, the Eagle Project. Of course, you need to complete your merit badges as well. You need to have requests for letters of recommendation out. In that list, you should provide your Scoutmaster so that the Scoutmaster can go and request those on your behalf or delegate it to some other troop adult in charge of that. You need to complete your statement of ambition and life purpose, and you need to complete your Scoutmaster conference prior to your 18th birthday. After you've completed all of those tasks, you need to participate in an Eagle Board of Review. And this can be done after your 18th birthday, up to 3 months past. Once you've completed your Eagle Board of Review, you are officially known as an Eagle Scout. And then you are free to conduct an Eagle Court of Honor. And this is usually done, prepared and planned by the Scout family with help from the troop. Let's take a look at requirement number 5 in the Eagle Scout rank, because this is the one that really sets the Eagle rank apart from any of the others. And so we're going to go over this in detail. So while a Life Scout, plan, develop, and give leadership to others in a service project helpful to any religious institution, any school, or your community. The project must benefit an organization other than Boy Scouting. The project plan must be approved by the organization benefiting from the effort, your Scoutmaster and troop committee, and the council or district before you start. You must use the Eagle Scout Leadership Service Project Workbook number 512-927 in meeting this requirement. The requirements go on to say, in addition to providing service and fulfilling the part of the Scout Oath to help other people at all times, one of the primary purposes of the Eagle Scout Service Project is to demonstrate or hone or to learn and develop leadership skills. Related to this are important lessons in project management and taking responsibility for a significant accomplishment. So that's a lot of words and a lot of weight put into this, and we'll be getting into this significantly as we go on here. The purpose of the Eagle Project is to demonstrate ability to plan, develop, and give leadership, which means that you're going to call on the skills that you've been starting and honing in your leadership skills with the STAR and Life ranks, and you're going to use those in a project management situation to give you a positive experience. You want to emphasize positive experience because that's the outcome that we want to have, and we want to make sure that what you plan, that positive experience is possible. So if you want some ideas for this, there's a lot of different places that you can go. One of the things is that the Scout Project needs to be valuable to their community, but cannot benefit the BSA. And it must be a challenge for you to complete. Ideas for projects you can find in a lot of different places. Of course, go out and Google it, right? Otherwise, talk to your Scoutmaster or any of the other troop leaders that may be able to help you out. Look in the paper, contact the Department of Natural Resources or a county parks board, your church, your school. Talk to other Eagle Scouts. As a STAR and a Life Scout, Go and participate in other people's Eagle projects. The more that you can see this process happening, the more ideas that you're going to get, and not only what you could do for your project, but how it can be done. Um, Go talk to the city, your city government, or their parks department in the city that can have some good ideas. Your library, your chartered organization may have something. Any kind of parks that are out there, as always, just go ahead and internet search it. Everybody seems to want to do some kind of a construction or a landscaping project, but it doesn't have to be limited to that. You don't have to build something necessarily, but use your creativity here. A lot of times, the best Eagle projects are ones that you kind of just think outside the box, and some ideas can come, and it's not that big a deal, right? So the key is to find something you like to do, and if you can hook it up with that, you get an extra benefit. You're benefiting something that you already enjoy doing or are a part of, and you get to use that as part of your Eagle service project. So let's talk about some guidelines and restrictions. There are no required minimum hours for a project. Let's underscore that. Nowhere in any of the requirements does it stipulate that you must have a project that is going to exceed, 150 hours, right? Um, Caveats here. When the project is being reviewed, what a reviewer is going to ask you and try and delve into is, what's your thoughts on how many hours it might take? And the reason that question's being asked is that we want to make sure that it's the right size project for you. So let's take a benchmark, rule of thumb. Let's say, 100 hours is quasi the right size project. Again, it's not a requirement. What we're looking for in this is, if you can total up and you can think of it, and you're going to put in, let's say you come up with about 900 hours instead. This is a big project, right? And as a project reviewer, what we're going to look at is this the right size project for you? Is this too much? Are you going to be able to handle this? We want it to make sure that you have a positive outcome, and we want to make sure that the project has a well-defined, how does this thing end, right? So 800 hours might be too big a project, right? Depending on what the scout is. And so we might say, you might want to redefine the scope of the project so that it's more in a right size situation. On the other side of that, if you total up your hours and you come to a project that's, 10, 15, 20 hours of everybody's time involved, that's an indication that maybe you're short selling yourself, right? Maybe you need to reach more and to see what more that you can add to this so that this can demonstrate a significant part of your leadership skills. Again, there's no specific number of hours that are devoted to a project, but what the reviewer is going to make sure is that this is something that reflects a significant accomplishment, and as such are going to make suggestions that maybe you should add a little more material to your project. Routine labor is not appropriate for a project. So if you're going to go to the city or let's say a retirement home or whatever, and maybe your project is to mow lawns for senior citizens or whatever for 2 months. Well, cutting grass happens whether you're there or not, and that's routine labor. So that's not something that's appropriate for a project. Projects may not be of a commercial nature or for a business. Okay. And again, there's an asterisk here. Let's say that a business owns land, and next to their business that they own, they've kind of developed it into somewhat of a public space for people to, hang out, like a park. You could certainly, because that's considered somewhat public space, you could certainly go ahead and do a project that may impact that area as part of a public responsibility. But you can't do it for the business itself that says, we're going to go distribute flyers for this business. That's not an appropriate Eagle project. Projects may not be a fundraiser as the primary effort. Fundraising may be part of your project to get this done, but you can't go out and raise funds for an organization and call that your Eagle project. That can't be it. It has to be something other than raising money. So that should be crossed off the effort. We'll discuss more about the fundraising going forward because there is some rules and regulations if you do need to do fundraising as part of your project. No more than one Eagle candidate may receive credit for a project, right? So if you've got a project, again, that, it's deemed to be a significant number of hours, let's say it's one of those that are, 500, 600, 700 hours that you come up with, and you say, well, I'm going to team up with my buddy who is also going for Eagle. You can't just say, hey, here's the project plan, we're going to team up and do this. You can't do that, right? You have to distinctly define what that Eagle project is that you're going to do. And if you're going to pare it down and then leave another facet to another scout, they need to define what's remaining on that project, and they need to make that their own. In fact, you need to completely separate your labor pool from that other candidate's labor pool so that you're performing two distinctly different projects, and preferably you're performing them on completely different days so that you each get a chance to lead your specific projects. Projects may not be performed for the BSA, its councils, districts, units, or their properties. So as much as we'd like to help out the Boy Scouts, we do all kinds of service projects when we go to summer camps. Or when we go to the various council camps or whatnot. We can't do that as part of the Boy Scouts. We want you to get outside of the Boy Scouts and really take the message of what scouting is all about further beyond the boundaries of Boy Scouts. And by doing that, we don't want you to do a project that completely benefits the BSA itself. So that can't be considered for an Eagle project. So when you do your Eagle project, you must use the Eagle Project Workbook. And what this is this is available, and we'll get into the end where you can find all the resources, but this is a specific form. It's a PDF that's fillable. We highly recommend that you use this on a computer and you fill it and save it. It makes life much, much easier than trying to handwrite this out and then to have other people be able to legibly read what you've written. If there's edits to it, it's much easier to do it when you have it online and you can recall the file from wherever you stored it, and you can update it and make the changes that you need to. This is a fillable file. Now, one thing is that it may look like a form. You shouldn't treat it as such. Provide as much detail as you can. The more detail you put in your workbook, the more thought you're giving to the project, and the better the idea that you have that can be conveyed to everybody that has to go through this. So detail, 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 please. For a copy of this, go out to the Northern Star Council on the webpage, and you can find it there. So some highlights of the workbook. There's basically 4 distinct parts of this. Number 1 is the project proposal. This is going to detail the project's main ideas and the scope of work, and it's going to be signed by you, the scout, the project beneficiary, your unit leader, someone from your unit committee, and then finally the district. Okay, so let's underscore this. This project proposal is the scope of work. Put in as much detail as you can to define what it is that you're going to do, and so that everybody has an exact idea of what you will be delivering. This is your protection as a scout from scope creep. This means that once you've come and gotten the agreement from your project beneficiary, you now have the scope of the project and how it's defined. Later on, the beneficiary can't come back at you and demand that you add more to it because you've already agreed on how much you're going to get done. If you want to add what they request, if it happens later on, that's up to you. But you have a written document of what the plan is, and you can use that to your advantage. The next part of the workbook is the fundraising application. This is needed. This is an if needed thing. So if you are doing fundraising, and we'll get into this later on, this must be approved through the district when you have your final written approval for your project proposal. So when you come for district approval for the project proposal, you also have to have the signed fundraising application along with it to get the final approval from the district. Then you have the final plan. This is where you may have some suggestions that come out of your project proposal review, and you may have some ideas. But this is where you're going to take those ideas and you're going to generate the actual. Here's how I'm going to run the project based on everything that I know right now. And that will allow you to put lots of detail into it, and it will allow you to get your arms around some of those small details of what you're going to need, what it's going to cost, how many people need to be there, what's the timing of events, and so on. The more detail you have, the easier it is to run your project. The final aspect of this is the project report. This is done after you've done your project. And you have all the work is done. You write it up. It's kind of a reflective thing. There's some, hey, you know, what went well here? What did you learn? You know, did anything surprise you? That type of thing. And it's going to allow you to wrap up and show what you actually did. Along with this, you want to make sure that you keep a log of the people helping out, because that's going to be a required element in the end as well. Again, this is not a form. You know, a lot of people, when they're faced with something to fill out, your reflex is that you want to put in, you know, here I just need to put something in here and then move on and get this done. This is something to use as a true workbook. So with that, you know, instead of providing one word or one sentence inputs into these areas, think really hard about what's being asked and really put in and answer the questions that it brings up. You know, what kind of tools are you going to need? What materials are you going to need? And then really ask yourself, what could go wrong here? And count on that in the safety sections and how to plan for that. So really put some deep thought into what exactly it is and give it as much detail as possible. So here's the steps to completion. You're going to come up with this concept for your project, and what you want to be able to do is kind of have a 30-second elevator pitch for this. And by this time, you should kind of have an idea who the project beneficiary is. But you're going to take this idea and bring it to your unit for approval. You're going to go to your scoutmaster or whomever the scoutmaster delegates to do this and just briefly describe, hey, what's this project all about? And that's basically to see if it you know is all good. The organization you're doing for it is good. You have something that has the right feeling for the amount of time needed. It's something that can be done and all that fun stuff. So once you have your verbal approval from your unit, you're going to write up in the proposal section everything that you can think of to fully define what that project proposal is all about. And again, you know, ask yourself the question when you're filling this out: what could go wrong here? And really try and answer that question. And with that in mind, fill as much information as you can. When you have that, you need to sign it as the scout. You need to have it approved by your project beneficiary. Again, that gives you the scope of the project and an agreement with the beneficiary that this is exactly the work that we're going to do. Once you have that, bring it to your unit leader. You can get it signed, and your troop committee needs to sign it. all of those signatures need to be there before you come to the district for approval. And you must have all these approvals to start your project. So don't start a project until you have that, right? And along with that, bring, if you need to, and we'll talk about this in a bit, the fundraising application. Once you have those, you can go ahead, you're free to go out and do the project. Go ahead and start putting more detail into the project plan and prepare for your project, and then go and do it. And then in the end, fill out your project report and reflect on your proposal. Districts can handle the project approval process maybe a little bit differently. And so what you're going to want to do is to check with your district Eagle team for more information to make sure you have everything it is that they're looking for. So let's talk about the concept review and the role of Eagle coaches. Okay. The more eyes and ears you can put on your project to bounce off the idea to see if it's worthy, the better. And it's strongly recommended that scouts use an Eagle coach from your unit or from the district, right? The Eagle coach is there to help mentor you and guide you to really help you think about the critical things that you need for this project. The concept review by the district is recommended for additional input and guidance, but it's not required. You don't need to go to the district for their verbal approval. But by all means, the district advancement people know what they're looking for in a project. And if you talk to them up front, they may be able to help you consider things that maybe you haven't, and will benefit you when it comes time for the written approval. The greatest value is in the advice provided after approval of the proposal as detailed planning continues. So, anytime you can get advice on in any stage of the project of things you need to consider, it really opens your eyes to, a good method for project management here. And it really will allow you to avoid maybe some surprises that could cost you in time and money. And those may be good things to avoid. If a plan is not sufficiently developed, projects can fail, right? If you're out considering doing a project, and you don't take in basic factors like the weather and timing of it, projects can be tough to run. So make sure that you really think through all aspects of how, you use the basic who, what, where, why, and when, and how, and answer those questions. A coach can help evaluate a plan's strength, weakness, and risks, right? And that's kind of a pre-bouncing off for approval, right? We want to make sure that, the plan is good. If there's some weak areas that you haven't thought of, they can help bring you to think about those and really think about what the risks are. And sometimes they're so obvious you never think of them, right? And so the coach can help you to do that. The coach cannot dictate changes or withdraw approval or take any other directive action, right? The coach is there for suggestions. You're free to take their advice. You're free to not take their advice if you don't want to. But the coach can't tell you, you must change this or this can't happen, right? Because they're not approving it, right? The District Eagle team can help validate a project idea based on project guidelines and restrictions to ensure success, right? So again, if you want to have your concept validated, it never hurts to get one more set of opinion, and the folks at the district advancement, we can help you out to help you consider things that maybe something didn't happen. And in the end, we're the people reviewing the project and approving the project, and we can give you a good idea of whether it's worthy or not, and some things that you may need some improvement on. So don't hesitate to reach out to your district advancement team if you would like. Now let's talk about the fundraising application. The fundraising application, as defined in the Guide to Advancement, projects may not be fundraisers, right? Fundraising is permitted only for securing materials and to facilitate the project. So a lot of times we're going to need, building materials or whatnot, and the funding for those can come from any number of areas, right? So if contributions only come from the beneficiary, or or any one of these. So if the beneficiary wants to pay for the project that's going to benefit them, that's fine and dandy. You don't need to do a fundraising application. They're free to pay for it. And that's the way that goes. If it comes from you, the candidate, or your family, or relatives, you don't need the funding application either. So a lot of times a scout may go and use money from their scout account to help pay for the Eagle project, and that money is yours, and you don't need to have any fundraising application, right? If your troop wants to chip in to fund the project, that's fine as well. You don't need the funding application. Same thing goes with your charter organization. If they want to fund it, then no funding application. But anytime you go beyond those organizations or areas, then you must have the funding application filled out and approved by the district. And basically, that funding application, there's going to be non-trivial amounts of money that are going to be raised. We figure out about how much is targeted. We get an idea of what the sources are that you'll be going and targeting for fundraising, and then it defines what happens in the end if there's any money left over. And basically, that then goes to the beneficiary organization that benefited from the project. So you could be collecting quite a bit of money, and we just want to make sure that everything is on the up and up here. So when you have this, go get it approved, because your beneficiary has to sign off on that, as well as your unit leader, and you're going to bring that with your project proposal to the district review when you want to get your project proposal approved. So some do's for Eagle projects: do provide as much detail as possible. Again, detail, detail, detail. Put as much thought in this as you can. Plan out the materials and tools required. Go out, and it's never too early to get a rough cost estimate on materials to be purchased or rented. Okay. If you're going to go out and get donations, start figuring out where you're going to go for those, and figure out where you want to contact for donations. Make sure you use an hour-by-hour time schedule when you're planning this out. So when you get into the area where it has the phases of the project, start thinking about scheduling out the day of your project in terms of what you want to get accomplished and when. And then keep that task list updated so everybody knows what to expect on the day of your project. Get your signature on that proposal, your unit leader, your unit committee, and beneficiary signatures before you come to the district for written approval. If you show up for written approval to the district without any of those signatures, we can't approve it, right? We have to be the last people that sign off on your project. And if you don't have your beneficiary signature or your unit committee signature or any others, we can't proceed, and we're going to send you home, or we're going to ask that you go get those. So please make sure you have all those signatures before you approach the district for your final approval. Do plan for the dates available for your district review. Some districts will do it on demand. Some districts do it at scheduled events once a month. Check with your district on how they do things, and try and plan for that. And then there are checklists out there. Check your plan against a review checklist to make sure that you are accomplishing everything you need for when it's time to get your project approved. Some don'ts. Don't begin work on the project until your district approval is given. And that includes requesting donations, right? So don't start a project. Don't go starting asking money for a project from areas outside of those that you don't need the fundraising application for. Get approval before you do any of that. Don't expect a quick turnaround from the district volunteers. Sometimes it takes a day or two to respond to phone messages and emails, right? District volunteers are exactly that. They're volunteers. They're there to help you out. But we all have day jobs. We all have things that we're doing in our lives, and we're going to get back to you as soon as we can. But you need to make sure that you are aware that this process can take some time. Don't wait until 2 months before your 18th birthday to get this project started or this process started. The approval process can take a long time. And if you're working with any kind of a governmental organization, this process could get dragged out with the approvals that they may require on their end to do it, right? So if you're doing something for your city, it may have to go before some planning commission to get approval. And the dates of those are very fixed in how they're done. So plan on that. And because if you wait till 2 months before, the clock could run out just in approvals alone. Don't expect things to move fast during the summer when volunteers are on vacation or at camp with their units. You know, it's always harder in the summer to get things moving forward. We're going to be there as much as we can. We're going to be champions to help you get this project approved. But again, the volunteers that can approve your project are just that, and they have things that they do. So please be patient when you try to go for approvals. So here's how projects are reviewed. We're really looking to pass these 5 tests, right? The project must provide sufficient opportunity to meet Eagle Scout requirement number 5. So in that, we look at, does it have enough critical mass so that you can demonstrate your leadership skills and adequately show that you're worthy of the highest rank in scouting? That is a coveted, esteemed award that many people highly seek in terms of people who've done this. We want to make sure that you meet those requirements so that you can meet that ideal. We want to make sure that the project is feasible. We don't want you to do something that, if you're going to build, the world's largest suspension bridge, that might be beyond the scope of work for somebody your age. Maybe not. But we want to make sure that it's appropriate for you and it's feasible, right? We want to make sure that you're looking into the safety issues. Again, what could go wrong in the project? That's the question you need to answer, and that you want to make sure people are safe in any number of ways. So make sure that you're addressing your safety issues, and along with that, a plan for how to deal with them. So always make sure you have a first aid kit around. Always make sure you consider what tools are being used and who uses them and when, and so on. We want to make sure there's action steps for further detailed planning that are included. And we want to make sure that you as the scout are on the right track with a reasonable chance for a positive experience. If we can go through this in your project and it's fully defined, and we can see that you have your arms around it, you know what the project is, you know how you're going to do it, you have a good idea of when and how and with what, that's a good thing. If you're not answering some of those questions, then you need to dig deeper. You as the project leader don't have to have all the answers, but really you need to know who to go to get them. And you need to go to some of those people when you bring your proposal together so that you can kind of consider that. So keep your talk to people, make sure you fully understand what it is that you're going to do in your project. Your district Eagle team. Again, we are there for concept input and project proposal approval. Okay. So feel free to reach out to us at any time. We also coordinate your Eagle Board of Review. So the paperwork, when you're finally said and done, the paperwork comes to us, and we will manage where and how and when your Eagle Board of Review is conducted. And then to find the right contact, go out to the council website. I put the full URL there. We'll see that at the end of the presentation here. But if you really want to see that out on this a guide, a Scout's Guide to Earning Eagle, you will see a link that will bring up this page. And this is the current list of people who are involved with your district that you can reach out and contact. So their names and phone numbers are there. Feel free to reach out to them. And anybody on this list can help you at any time in this project. This is something that is council-wide. We're more than happy to help you out if you're having trouble reaching any one of these people. For parents and leaders, this is a reminder that the Eagle Project is the Scouts to lead. Okay, let me emphasize that again. This is for the Scouts to lead. Parents are to encourage and guide, but we want to make sure that the Scout is leading the project. For you Scouts out there, this is your opportunity as a Scout to take charge. And if your parents are, or any other adult for that matter, is trying to tell you what to do in your project, you're free to take their advice, but you're also free to say, "Hey, I got this, and I can manage this, and please let me do this." Right? With that, it should be understood that the Scout should be making all phone calls to organize the project. That means contacts with the beneficiary, the district representative, and so on. This should not be the parent's job. If a parent calls a district representative to schedule a project review for approval, the parent will more than likely be told to thank you for your input. Here is my phone number. Here is my email, and I will accept and discuss the meeting time and so on with the Scout when they contact me. That is not the parent's job to organize any of this. This is the Scouts, and that's all part of project management. Requests for reference letters are a required part of the paperwork sent to the council. So we'll see this in a little bit here when we get to the Eagle application. But part of the thing is that you as an Eagle Scout are going to want a list of people who will attest to your ability to lead up to the requirement for Scout Spirit. And you will be asked to provide references who can attest to that. So that includes your parents, a religious person, an educator, if you're employed, maybe your employer, and or one or two other adults. And you basically provide that list of who can attest to your Scout Spirit. You will give that information to your Scoutmaster and or somebody whom the Scoutmaster has delegated that to, and they will request references on your behalf. These references can be done anytime that you are a Life Scout. So it doesn't have to be till the last minute. So if you can knock it out early, because the educators can be very hard to get to, specifically from mid-May through about August and into early September. Educators tend to be focused on other things. So make sure that you're getting these references and give them reasonable time to respond and give you a reference letter. Now what? So you've got the project completed, and you've got approval by the beneficiary and the Scoutmaster, right? So good, you've got the project done. That's the hard part, right? Your merit badges are all done. Your troop position of responsibility requirements are fulfilled. In other words, you have 6 months of a leadership position done. Again, your merit badges are earned and recorded at the council. Go ahead and check your Scout Book account and make sure that they're there. And then you need to complete a Scoutmaster conference. Okay. For the application, you'll need to prepare your statement of ambition and life purpose and leadership outside of Scouts to include with the application. So this, for those who have questions on that, the statement of ambition is basically a short essay of 1 to 2 pages that outline, the things that you've picked up in scouting, that explain how you've applied your leadership skills, specifically outside of scouting, if you can, to show how you've grown as a leader and a servant. And then to highlight some things that you expect to do in the future, of where you're going to go with your life and how scouting may help you along the way. And then again, the letters of recommendation, you'll need those in the application process. You as the scout will never see these letters. They're basically confidential, and that allows the people that you've requested references from to speak freely about you, and give the full picture of their view of you. So hopefully you've chosen people that can speak highly of you. But the reference giver is free to say whatever they want. You as the scout will never see what they said. Those letters will be sent back to your scoutmaster or whomever requests them, and they will be put as part of the application. And make sure you start that process early for getting those letters. Here's a look at the Eagle application. Again, this is we'll show you where to get this. This is on the council page. So it's available at the Scouts Guide to Earning Eagle in the forms, and this is a required element. So a couple of things in here that we'll look at. So this is a fillable PDF. Fortunately, this is a form, okay? But there are a couple of gotchas in here. So fill in your name, which is right there. Fill in your dates of when you've earned your badges and when you've reached specific ranks. So you've got when you became a Boy Scout, when you became when you got your first class border review, and so on. Those dates are in Scout Book. If you want to go to Scout Book, you can actually pull out a partially completed version of this form that will have the dates filled in for you, which is kind of convenient. But if you're not, you can go ahead and download the form from the council office and you can fill those in yourself. Another thing is you're going to be answering a few questions which are found right in this area, right? And it's going to ask you things such as, were you a Cub Scout? Were you a venture scout, so on. There is a trick question there. One is have you completed 5th grade upon joining? So if you were a Cub Scout and you earned the Arrow of Light and you crossed over into the troop, you probably crossed over during your 5th grade year. So most of the questions right here, you'll answer yes. But if you were a Cub Scout and you joined as an Arrow of Light Scout, earning the Arrow of Light, you will answer no, you didn't complete 5th grade prior to joining Scouts. So resist the temptation to answer all questions yes, and read the questions. That's kind of a test. The next thing you're going to look at here is the references section. So if you want to get a start on your references, go to this page. This has the list of all the people that you'll need to get references from. You'll need the name, address, telephone, and email for them. If you give this list of references to your Scoutmaster or the designee, they can go out and request those on your behalf, and that's all you really need to do. So you need to provide the information on this, and then your unit will take care of the rest for you. Merit badges. Again, this could come partially filled out if you pull it out of Scout Book. If not, make sure you're using the dates that are in Scout Book, and then cross out any of the ones that you didn't do as the alternative. So for instance, you have environmental science or sustainability right here. What you'll do is kind of right click on the one that you didn't do, and if you do that, one will come at strike through, and that'll allow you to cross that out electronically when you fill out the form. In the end, you will provide leadership. This is the other gotcha section here. You'll provide your leadership, and the leadership will be basically, here is your life border review date. Make sure that the leadership that your start from date starts from the date of your life border review or after. So we're only interested in the time that you have when you've served as a Life Scout. So only keep it to there. The other thing that you need to have is an end date. If you leave this blank because you're still in the position, just fill in the date of your Scoutmaster conference as the end date. You have to have an end date on there. So that's it. And then basically you'll sign it. Your Scoutmaster will sign it for the board or for your Scoutmaster conference date, and then the council will sign it after they've reviewed it, and then the board of review will sign it after they have completed the board of review. So that's kind of the Eagle Scout application in a nutshell. So when in the end, when you're done with your Scoutmaster conference and you're ready to get this huge stack of paperwork together, what you or your Scoutmaster is going to do is the following. So the Scoutmaster is going to fill out a contacts postcard, and this is available on the resources page that we'll get to in a minute. But it basically gives you as the Eagle Scouts your contact, the Scoutmaster's contact, and so on, so that if there's problems with the application, you can be contacted very quickly to resolve any issues. After that, you'll have the Eagle Rank application completely filled out and signed. After that, you'll have any letters that you may need to provide for supplements. So if you have any special needs letters, any eligibility forms, any alternative merit badges, approvals, and so on, or any extensions like the COVID extension, you need to have that in there as well. Then you're going to have your statement of ambitions put in, and then your letters of recommendation, and then the complete approved Eagle Scout Service Project Workbook. One note here is with the Eagle Scout Service Project Workbook, go ahead and pull out what I would term all of the boilerplate information that's in there. So take all of the sheets that don't require you to fill something out, pull those out, because we don't need to see those, and we want those out anyway. Then you'll have your list of hours attached, your roster of work. So when you do your project, keep a log, a sign-in sheet of when people sign in and sign out, and you want that to be there as well. And so all of this needs to be put in with single sheets. There should be no staples, no folders, no sheet protectors or binders. This all has to be loose leaf and can be held in the end with one of those big chunk paper clips or whatever, but that's it. If you've got it stapled together, remove the staples. Please do that. It just makes, this is going to be scanned in the end, and it just makes the shuffling of documents a lot easier when it comes to the review process. Your Eagle Board of Review. So once that project packet has been dropped off at the council, it usually takes a couple of weeks to get it through, depending on the workload and the number of projects that need to be reviewed. The council looks at things and checks the dates of the compared to what's on their records, and makes sure that everything is appropriate, all the hours match, and everything that needs to be there is there. Once they do that, a little email goes out and tells you, the scout, your Scoutmaster, your parents, and the district representative that the paperwork's been approved and it's being sent to the district for a board of review. The board of review is something that will be scheduled for you. And basically the board review may be unit committee members, leaders from surrounding units, community at large, or the district. And it'll be 3 to 6 members. Boards of review can be done virtually via video conference. In most normal times, we do boards of review, usually at, scheduled dates that are arranged individually with the scout, or districts may opt to do them at a district meeting once a month to get a number of volunteers together. However that's done, it could be done via video conference. Assistant Scoutmasters and family members may not be present, but can wait in the lobby for a board of review decision. So you, the scout, are going to be going into this board of review. You can have your Scoutmaster there, but that Scoutmaster has to silently be there if it's okay with you as the scout, if you'd like your Scoutmaster there. Basically, the board of review is going to be like a job interview. And it's something that we'll talk about who you are as a person, and we'll discuss your scouting activities and dive in pretty deeply to the Eagle project itself. But and there may be some questions asked that are really thought provoking. And a lot of times there's no right or wrong answer. It's just there to get your thoughts as a scout. So don't be too nervous about it. This is going to feel, in the end, a lot like a job interview that you might have. If you haven't had one already, you'll certainly run into that down the road. The Eagle Board review decision must be unanimous with all the board members. The suggested dress for your board review is to be dressed neatly and in the uniform that your troop prescribes. Many times it's always a good thing to have your merit badge sash, to have proudly display the your achievements. They're good topics for discussion within the board review. Bring your scout book and any supporting materials you need to share your project. So whatever makes you comfortable in helping you paint the picture of what you did and how you led people in your Eagle project. It's always said a picture's worth 1,000 words. And if you want to share some pictures with your Eagle border review and how it happened, feel free to do that. A lot of times that can help you remember the details of what you did so that you can explain them to the board for their review. Accommodations are always available for those with disabilities or special needs. If there's anything that you need for your board of review to make it successful, make sure that you talk to your district representative, and we'll make every effort to make sure that we can accommodate those needs for you. So now you've passed your board of review, and let's talk about the Eagle Court of Honor. So the once the border happens, the process is the paperwork goes into the council for approval, and just final registration, and it gets sent to national. At some point, the award packet comes back, and then you're free to do your court of honor, because the badge is already set to award and so on. The Eagle Court of Honor should be planned by the scout and or your family. Of course, if you want help with your troop, feel free to reach out to them. Make it your own. This is your, basically this is your show, and make it with your style, and include what's important to you. This is a big achievement, and really think about how you want to do it, and get some ideas. And there's no one set way to do it. So you're free to use something that's been done in the past. You're free to do what you want. Try and incorporate your fellow scouts and special leaders into the program. Think about who's helped you out there, and think about who you'd like to have there. And really, if you can, this is a shining moment that you can use as an example for younger scouts. So the more that you can get them involved, you will already be reaching out and touching somebody, and perhaps by your actions, encouraging them to reach up and reach for the Eagle Award itself. Think about adults who are especially helpful to you, and present them with a mentor pin. Your award kit will come with one mentor pin. Don't let that stop you to award just one. If you feel there's more than one person who's really helped you along the way, feel free to recognize them. Those mentor pins are $1 or $2 at the scout shop, and feel free to purchase as many as you want to award as many as you want. And then your troop may have this, but the Northern Star Council has several Eagle Court of Honor decoration boxes. So this will have the candles and the little knickknacks and things that you can use to decorate where you're going to hold your Court of Honor. And if you need that, feel free to go and check that out from the council. A little note on COVID, because that's where we're at, right? The Boy Scouts, Scouting BSA is issuing extensions to those who, because of COVID, are not able to sufficiently work on advancement while we are having the COVID conditions here. extensions are only going to be granted to those scouts who've already achieved the life rank, right? So if you've come to within 6 months of your 18th birthday, let's say you're 4 months out and you are not life yet, uh, an extension cannot be granted to you, and you have to be life. All right. The extension basically is you need to put a written statement out to the council, and you also need to have your scoutmaster attest to that, that outlines what you're being held back by the COVID conditions, and then you need to send that in for approval. For Eagle, the extension is 3 months from the date of your 18th birthday. Upon turning 18, you must complete an adult application and successfully complete youth protection training. So that's part of the deal here. You're now considered an adult, and you need to live up to the standards as an adult in the BSA program. And then the extensions requests for more than 3 months, they need to go to the National Service Center. So stick with 3 months. That basically means is that if you get this extension, it makes your new 18th birthday, so to speak, 3 months from the date of your 18th birthday. So let's just say your 18th birthday is October 1st. That means that your 3-month extension would be October, November, December, January. So it'd be January 1st is your new 18th birthday. That means everything must be done by December 31st. So make sure you understand what that means. So for more information on any of what we've spoken here, which will include this presentation itself, go to basically on the Northern Star Council webpage. There's a Scout's Guide to Earning Eagle page, and that page will include a link to the project workbook, the Eagle application. There's Eagle reference templates for the troop unit leaders to send out for your behalf, and then the contacts for the district advancement representatives. Go there. It's a great information page, and it will help answer any questions that you may have in the process. With that, we'd like to thank you and all the scouts and adult mentors for Eagles. If you have any questions, make sure you go and check with the council page. Always refer to the Scouting Guide to Advancement. If there's any doubt on anything, look it up there. That has all of the answers in it, because those are the rules we all follow by. And with that, I'd like to say thank you, and we wish you luck in your path for Eagle.